This is the People's Daily Online Business Podcast, an inside look at business in China and beyond. I'm Zhenyu Li. Welcome to another edition of the Business Podcast. I'm Zhenyu Li. In this episode, we'll continue to talk about China's transition to a consumption-led economy. Our special guests today are JP Morgan Managing Director Jing Ulrich and former Chairman of Morgan Stanley Asia, Stephen Roach. China is now moving toward a new growth model that relies more on domestic consumption. The potential of China's consumer power will be unleashed as the nation improves its social services. That's one big driver for the domestic consumption in the world's most populous nation. But are there any other ones? Jing Ulrich, Managing Director and Chairman of Global Markets China at JP Morgan, believes that urbanization offers part of the answer.
If you look at China's urbanization rate, right now it's about 52%. That means over 50% of the population already resides in the cities. We still have another 50% of the population that will be moving to the cities in the coming 10 years, 20 years. And this will become a very important driver for consumption as well. Because as people move from the countryside to the cities, their incomes grow quite rapidly. In fact, if you look at the income levels of people living in the cities versus the countryside, they're about 4 to 5 times higher. So I also believe urbanization will become a very important driver for China's domestic consumption in the next decade and perhaps for the next 2 decades.
Ulrich's views on urbanization were echoed by Stephen Roach, former chairman of Morgan Stanley Asia.
The urbanization trend in China has been unprecedented, but there's still a good deal more to go, and I think the government is very committed to that, and that's also important to consumption because urban workers earn about 3 times more than comparable workers living in rural communities.
China's successful transition to a consumption-led economy is certainly good news for the world, especially in a time of global recession when other major economies, such as the US and the Eurozone, are seeking new sources of growth. The emergence of the Chinese consumers is just what they're craving for. For People's Daily Online, I'm Zhenyu Li. For additional quality coverage on China in audio, video, and text, visit People's Daily Online at people.cn. China means business.